Have you ever come across a car that is all that you need? It's not all the stuff like all the bells and whistles and mad performance or big high-powered engine or anything like that, but it ticks every single box that you might require in a car. This is the Corolla Estate, 1.8 litre. It's a hybrid car, like nothing really bells and whistles about it, and yes, it's everything I need in the car. I've had it for the whole of Christmas. I've driven it around. I've used half a tank of fuel. We're back on lockdown now, but I'm swapping it out today anyway. Even got what's called a hoar frost last night. It was a heavy, windy kind of frost across the car, and it still started up this morning. It was great, lovely car. It was really nice. I can't quite put my finger on why this is all very important, but let's find out in this video. How we'll discuss it and try and figure out between us, me and you, why this is such a good car. Anyway, let's go. So this is the side profile of the Corolla. As you can see, it's very elegant, handsome even. Ignore the sticker, that's a sanitized sticker because I sanitized the car before I pick it up and I couldn't get the sticker off, so it's just kind of stuck there. And the frost, I can chip the frost off the car. Look at this. Watch this, look, I can actually chip the frost off. We got a sort of a weird hoar frost last night. It's very satisfying to push it off the car actually. You can see it on the top of the roof here where it's standing up. So it's impossible to actually defrost the car properly. I don't want to wash it because if I wash it I'm going to burn the frost off, damage the paintwork then of course. So anyway, look at the side profile of this car. And even if you come around the back of it, it's just a handsome car. This isn't even a two-tone version of the car. This is as plain as you can get with the Corolla. You're not going to get more plain than this one apart from Estate, and still it really is handsome. Boot space, loads of it, loads and loads. Practicality wise is really, really good in here. Lots of space for stuff. Look at all that room back there, full shopping bag hooks. I can drop the seats from back here. More space under here unless you elect for a spare wheel, which goes under there. These boots, look at that, that's a whole drone, fits in there, into that little side pocket. There's one over there as well. There's so much room for activities in the back of this car. It's really very, very good. And this tonneau cover, which is brought down like that, and you push it away, and it's out of the way. It's a perfect boot space for an Estate. Not electric, just closes normal. Side profile, normal. I like this slopey line down here, it's really good. The word hybrid is on the front, it's the only illusion to the fact that it's not like just a petrol or diesel one. Obviously there's no diesel ones left. And then the front of the car has even more frost on it that I can't get off, but you can see I can move it like icebergs, look. Anyway, standing back a bit, it's got an elegant front, a couple of spotlights down the bottom there as you can see. Little ones on the bottom. It's just an inoffensive car. It's just a really good looking, handsome car. I think anyway. What do you think? Let me know in the comments if you think this is a good looking car or not. Would you be interested in looking at buying this car? Let's have a look on the inside. Inside is just as nice, I think. Listen. That's an alright hood. There's actually a metal thing in the door. I brought a flask of coffee because it's so cold today. My flask fits into the glove, into the little thing, see? Isn't it good? Anyway, close the door without the flask in this time, listen. It's a good thud, right? It's a good thud. It's a good, clean, honest thud. Now, dashboard does this sloping out thing. So the dashboard is actually two-tone. You can see it's black on top, nice, soft, squidgy stuff there. Some squidginess in the fingers. Hard plastic here, and then soft, squidgy stuff here. That's really nice. Glove box. Tons of space in there. Infotainment system come to in a minute. There's dual zone climate control, which is connected by knobs, as we want always bring back knobs. Down here we have heated seats, both on front, two front seats are heated. On big old switches, listen to that switch. That's a proper switch. That's a man switch. It's a man switch from the 50s, you know, real proper one. And that's good. Not saying there's nothing wrong with that. Steering wheel is a little bit on the thin side, but good for comfort, for long range driving. I think it's pretty good. Then you have auto lights and auto bits and pieces down here. You've got active cruise control in this car as well. It's got a lot of hidden little features that aren't shouted about in Toyota. And they don't really go on about them the whole time. And it's still all actually here. Now if I start it up, you quickly find out that it's all electric. when it starts up. Now it will start the engine because it is very cold, so it will start the engine in a second. We see I have half a tank of fuel left. It says there's something wrong with the tyre. I haven't seen that yet. I checked all the tyres this morning. There's the engine after kicking in now. It's a 1.8 litre petrol engine that's after kicking in. It needs to heat itself up to heat the heaters up inside, obviously. We'll turn that down a bit so we don't hear Bohemian Rhapsody, which is playing right now. I'm having a Queen morning at the moment. A bit of a Queen morning. So this is set to 1 joule. You can have joule, or you can have it on one side. I'm on one side at the moment. So I'm just going to set that to a nice balmy 22 degrees. It's very cold outside. And the car isn't warm, so it's quite cold in here. There is drive modes. I've moved the cable here. The drive modes here allow me to go into sport. So if I go back up here to the dashboard, sport, normal, eco. I just leave it in normal. Sport doesn't seem to do a whole lot to me anyway. Keeps the engine on longer. It's an automatic gearbox, obviously. A Cvt gearbox, which is quite nice. A lovely thing to drive. This is the standard interface for Toyota. No difference in that one at all. It does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto built into it. But I'm just using Bluetooth at the moment because I actually like the Toyota system. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy to use. I don't really have a problem with it. It works perfectly from the Bluetooth. You can see there. Another one bites the dust from Queen. Savage song, that. I'm a Queen fan. But yeah, I like Queen. Queen was my thing growing up. I loved it. That's my phone holder, so that's nothing to do with the car itself. And then up here I have a standard halogen sort of overhead yokes. It's look, it's just a straightforward, good, honest cabin. Cup holders are here. There's a nice little box in here as well with 12 volt socket and a USB port. USB port is tucked up underneath here, which you can just plug in and out so you can see it there. That's your USB port. And you have all your connections up there that you want. Like, it's just genius. It's a lovely car. It really is nice. Let's go for a spin though and discuss the most important factor of this car, which is, now let me just settle down for a second. I'm going to make a claim here. The Toyota Corolla has the most sorted suspension system and damping system on the market in Ireland. It's perfect. It's better than luxury brands at driving. Now, let's find out why that is. Come on, we'll go for a spin. What's that lumbar support? Lumbar support. It's electric lumbar support in the car, just to find it. I didn't even know it was there. Right, into D, and the engine's still running because obviously we have the fans on at the moment. So I could drop the fans down. What it's warning me there is the roads may be icy, drive with care. No crap, I nearly fell over there a minute ago with the amount of ice on the actual road. So we will be taking it gingerly this morning, gingerly now, as we set off. Now, when I was talking about suspension there, it's difficult to explain what I'm talking about, but Toyota, when the car comes into Ireland, the last thing that happens before it's delivered to the dealership is the suspension is checked and tightened for Ireland, and they make it so it runs very well in Ireland. Very few other manufacturers do this, to be one of the very few who actually do this before it goes on the road, which means when you buy a Toyota here, you end up in a car that has been sorted just for you, just for your conditions, just for this country. And that means when I'm driving along the back roads of, Portlaoise, or as Siri calls it, Portlaoise, I'm driving along on suspension that has been tuned for Ireland. Tuned. Now, some other car companies do this, don't get me wrong, this isn't a unique thing, but it certainly does make a big difference when you're cruising along. And in this Corolla, particularly the Estate one, which is a slightly longer wheelbase and is a slightly longer car in general, this means that the car feels like it's just, it's so floaty, it's so pleasant to just trundle about in. It's very, very nice. And I can't really put my finger on whether it's the dampers or the suspension or the tyres or what they've after doing to it. It's a nice Saab 9.3 convertible heading away there in the distance. That's a very pleasant looking car. Now, on not a cold day when the car is warm, it will actually do a lot more on the electric. So on a day where it's not quite so cold and the temperature outside right now is 2 degrees. Last night it was down to -3, I think. Air temperature, that's where the hoarfrost came from, rather than ground temperature. But it is still very frosty. It was frosty the day before as well. Now, on those kind of days, the car has to work a bit harder to get the temperature up inside the engine, so you can get the heaters running in here as well. But under normal circumstances, this car would run quite happily along on electrics. It's very, very good and very efficient at charging itself on the electrics. It's running now on electric, actually. It's distributing the power back up using just full electric. You can see it on the screen there. So this is a pure hybrid. This is not I hate to use the word, but you know what I mean when I say it's a self-charging hybrid. So you don't plug this in. This is not a PHEV, and it's not an electric car. It's a semi-electric car. It's kind of what it is. It's hard to explain really, because you always upset somebody. If you call it a self-charging hybrid, you get all those guys who are real EV enthusiasts going, that's not what you call them. God, it's terrible. Self-charging hybrid is not right. How dare you? Oh, it's terrible. And you get people on Twitter giving out to you when you call them self-charging hybrids, but that's kind of what it is. It charges itself, kind of from itself. So it charges from the engine. Now, if you're not ready, as many of you are not ready, considering the price of an electric car, if you're not ready to go full electric just yet, you could probably do worse than a hybrid. Now, PHEV is a plug-in hybrid, right? So you plug them in and they do about 20 to sort of 40 kilometre range. There's a few longer range ones coming out now, but they're still a bit away on the long finger ones. But you can do 20 to 40 kilometres on pure electric on some of those other ones, on the other hybrids, PHEVs. Now, whether you'd want to do that or not is entirely up to you, but for me, I find PHEVs a terrible inconvenience. Because if you want to get the maximum range, you need to plug it in every time you use it. So you're always plugging it in every day. If you want to get the best from your car, it's nice to have a petrol engine hanging around, but you're actually carrying around a 70 or 80 kg battery in the boot of the car the whole time. And if you're not charging that battery, it's basically just a hybrid. You might as well have just bought a standard hybrid. This is a standard hybrid. I don't have to plug this in at all. I get out in the morning, it's already got a charge in it because it charges when it's driving along like now. And it's already got all the electric sorted out for me. I don't have to, I'm lazy like that. I just want to press a button, go, go, just go. That's it, you know. But even over those speed bumps, I can feel the difference in the suspension. Now there is a bit of road noise. This is my kind of test road along here. This one that goes up by Costa Coffee and all. There's a funny surface. The surface actually changes 2 or 3 times on this road as you're driving along, because of course every council has had a bash at making it a better road. And what's really happening is there's a different sort of a grit surface to this road, and the tyres don't seem to like it. And at higher speed, you can definitely feel the difference in the tyres doing their job. They really do make quite a noise. See, it changes here again. See, surface has changed a second time. Now, Cvt Noise 0, I can't hear that anymore. That's largely gone. Engine note does change to something that's not very pleasant on the ear when you put your foot down. So when you want to overtake something, there is a noise. That noise is not pleasant necessarily. Not unpleasant either, mind you, but just you don't hear that gear change. Because it's CVT, constant variable transmission, it means it's able to maintain the rev range all the way through the different kinds of gears, which is essentially sort of a rubber band. It's hard to explain what a CVT box is, but it's not like a normal gearbox. It's very light though, and that's why Toyota like it a lot. Look, I don't think the Toyota Corolla really does anything wrong. I'm not saying it's very exciting or you're going to have a great time driving it, it's going to be the best drive you've ever had in your life, none of that sort of stuff. But if you're looking for just an honest family estate car, and I really do believe there's great value in estates at the moment over SUV. If you're looking for a good value estate car and you're not ready to go electric, or you don't see something in the market of electric that's going to be good for you, well, what's wrong with this? I can't work out why people would not choose something like this as their daily driver, as something that will be very economical, very nice, really reliable, very dependable. A good dealer network. There's Hughes here in the town with me in Portlaoise. It's just a lovely car to drive, and I have a real soft spot for it. In actual fact, I've owned a few Toyotas over the years, but then who hasn't in Ireland, in fairness? I really think this is one to watch out for. I think if you're looking to buy something in 2021, which we're currently on full level 5 lockdown again. Thanks, Christmas. You left us a lovely present. But in 2021, you're looking to buy something, I certainly would have a look at some of the Toyota Corolla range. I think these Corolla Estates do such a really honest, good job, particularly with suspension, safety, security, reliability. All those kind of boxes I think they're really, really good. The competition is fierce in the market, but I think Estates are where it should be. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. You can find me in various places, like Instagram is one, Twitch. I'm also streaming some games and stuff on Twitch. I'm going to go back to that, particularly during lockdown. You can also find me on TikTok as well. I have 2 accounts on TikTok. Both of them are growing very fast. There's 70,000 followers on one of them. And the other one's like 6,000 followers now. So we're ticking along really, really nicely. So if you could follow me on one of those places, you can DM me there. You can ask me questions or whatever. You can DM me here if you like. You can also support the channel in various ways, like Patreon, PayPal. There's direct donations, whatever you want to do. It's entirely up to you. Or just at least subscribe, because that's the cheap one. That means YouTube will show you an ad or two, and I get paid out of that. One way or the other, we try and get some money in for these reviews, as we do a lot of reviews. Hopefully lockdown is treating you quite nicely. It's okay so far with me. We're back into level 5. It's a bit of a pain in the ass. A lot of cars are getting cancelled, so effectively I'm kind of out of business again, because everything's getting cancelled and shut down, and we'll try and survive through it. But you know what? Keep your head up. Keep moving forward. I think we'll be okay in the future. Hopefully this is a time capsule of a video. And at some point in the future, we'll all look back at this and go, wow, wasn't that the weirdest year and a half that we ever spent? And I think that's what we'll be doing. I'm going to trundle on up to Dublin now, very quietly and carefully, up the road, gingerly onto the motorway until we get there. And hopefully you will join me at some point in the future for another video. I stream every Sunday on the Sunday service. That is a mental health thing. I will also be doing watch groups on our Facebook page. So over on Facebook, you'll find the Sunday service community, Sunday service Facebook page. Join us there, and we're going to do an Amazon watch together thing. You know, you can do as a watch as a group. We're going to do one of them and see how that turns out. Don't know how it's going to be, but we'll see. That's again, it's another kind of support community mental health initiative to try and get something done. We decided on it yesterday we're going to do the Massive Hunt by Amazon, and we're going to have a watch party first. So join us some evening for that. We'll put up links on our Facebook page, a little private group with all the usual bunch in it. Look after yourselves, take it easy on the head, don't be fretting too much about stuff. We'll get there in the end. Again, thank you very much for watching, and until the next time, I'll see you on the far side.